Okay, so in this chart, I'm going to talk about gaps and what they mean and where they come from, why they happen, and the importance of them. So basically, gaps are areas in a chart where there is no trading activity. And so what I'll do is I'll come up here and I'll take a look at, this is a Chicago Mercantile Exchange daily chart of Bitcoin futures. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange closes at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on Fridays. They don't reopen until Sunday evening at 5:30 Central Standard Time. So basically what you're looking at is this is March 2nd of this year. And what we've got is we've got this candle, and you can see the trading in it. It's a doji candle, okay? So it's got a small body, and it's got wicks out the side showing the trading activity. So when you look at this, and I'll just zoom in just a little bit so you can see it better. So we've traded up into this area. You got the wick coming out the top. So we close down here, right? And then we reopen on Sunday, and we reopen at a higher price above the wick. And so in between, you've got no trading activity. That's a gap. That's a gap in price. Okay? And so what happens is this thing comes up, it tests the 50 EMA, didn't like it, rejects off of it, and now you got this big red candle, and now it's filled the gap. It's traded back into that area. So that's one gap right there. And just to point out, you will probably not see this hardly ever on TradingView or Coinigy or whatever exchange you're looking at, only because it trades 24/7 and it's usually pretty fluid, so you don't really see any gaps. But it's possible. It's just more than 90% chance you're not going to see a gap on one of those type of charts. You're only going to see it on the futures exchange or with a regular stock on the stock exchange. So anyway, moving down, and I'm going to show another example. Okay, and this goes back to April 20th. And this is a Friday, and you can see market is in a rally mode. It's a big green candle. There's a little wick coming out the top where it traded to. But then on Sunday, it gaps up. And then in between, you have no trading activity. That's a gap. Comes a little higher, reverses down, wants to fill the gap, but I'm looking at the price, and some people may say, well, that filled the gap. Well, in my eyes, it didn't hit it on the number, okay? I mean, it came close, but it didn't do it. And so everybody is thinking we filled the gap, we're going up. No. Got rejected, and now you come back over here, and look what happens. You fill the gap area. It's traded back into that area. So I'm going to move over to our current situation. Okay, so we've got a gap here, and this was on May 22nd. Okay, and this was actually from one day to the next. So you got right here, we closed down to here, small wick out the bottom, not very much, and then no trading activity in between here and here. That's a gap. Okay, so we come down, try to make a rally, we can't, so the gap is still not filled. Then our most recent situation is this. Of course, everybody knows we had the bear flag, and then from this Friday, this past Friday, we closed way up here at 76.20, I believe, and gapped all the way down to here. That's a huge area of no trading activity. At some point, this will fill. So the question is, people always ask, when will it fill? Well, nobody knows for certain. Okay, this could go on like back in here. This traded for, what is that? Probably a week, maybe 2 weeks before it ever came back and finally filled the gap. Okay? So we could go on for a week. It could fill immediately, or it could fill within the next year. There's no timetable on when gaps fill. Okay? And usually when you get a break gap like this, and this is called a breakaway gap, you're more than likely going to see an attempt at lower prices, just because it's almost like if a stock had great earnings and whatever, then it's going to break away and it's going to try to go higher. But eventually, it's going to trade back into that gap. So we need to be on alert for that. Okay? So that's kind of what I got on gaps right now. And so obviously, if anybody has any questions in the channel, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. So appreciate you watching the video, and good luck trading.